What's up, guys? Just wanted to do a quick show for you tonight, covering the NBA playoffs. Uh, Obviously, the Knicks are looking to close out the Sixers tonight, up 3-1, heading back to MSG. Back in Cleveland at 8 o'clock tonight, the Magic visit the Cavs with the series tied at 2 apiece. The home teams won in all 4 games of that series, so we'll see how that goes if that continues. Indiana leads 3-1 over Milwaukee with Giannis and Dame both out. I'm expecting Indiana to close that out. I actually think the Magic have momentum right now, and I actually think the Magic are going to beat the Cavs in Cleveland tonight. But I do think it's going 7. I think Cleveland's going to win Game 6, and then I think Cleveland's going to win Game 7 at home. And then go on to face the Celtics in the second round. I think the Knicks take out the Sixers tonight. I think that the Knicks have all the momentum, and I think that Philly's going to Philly in the first round. I think that's just sort of how it goes. So I think that's how those games shake out tonight. Going off of games that took place yesterday, the Celtics were able to go up 3-1 on Miami, but the big story being Porzingis' injury. It was announced today that he has a right soleus injury, and Adrian Wojnarowski reported that he's going to be out for several games. How long several games is anybody's guess. It's the same injury Giannis Antetokounmpo's been dealing with. So I think that with the Celtics, I think they're going to try to probably go the next series without him. They should be able to beat Cleveland or Orlando, whomever it ends up being, to get to the conference finals. I think it'll be a little bit harder should they face the Knicks in the conference finals, but I think even then they should be able to beat the Knicks. Where it would hurt the Celtics would be in the NBA Finals against either Oklahoma City with Chet Holmgren, or even more so with the Nuggets and Jokic. I think that Porzingis was the guy that was going to put them over the top, and the biggest question about him was his durability. And we've now not even made it through the first round, and he's already hurt. So I think that the Celtics should still be able to win the East even without Porzingis, but winning the NBA title is a completely different ask when it comes to getting by the Nuggets or the Thunder. But I expect the Celtics to close out the Heat in Game 5 tomorrow night, even without Porzingis. I don't think that should be an issue. As far as the rest of the East goes, I expect the Knicks, like I said, to close out tonight against Philly. And I think when they play Indiana, I expect the Knicks to win in about 6 games against the Pacers. And I think you're going to see the Celtics against the Knicks in the conference finals for the East. I think in the West, I think that Minnesota could possibly take Denver to 7 games, but I think the more realistic outcome would be in 6. And I'm giving them 6 just because of how Anthony Edwards has just been a superstar in these playoffs. I think that he's shown he's the future face of the league, and I think that the sky is the limit for a player like him. The only thing I'd be worried about as a Timberwolves fan is, does he want to try to get out and get to a bigger market, which might be even something the league would want. But if they're able to keep him in Minnesota, that would be huge. They haven't had a star like him since Kevin Garnett. And we also know how that worked out with Garnett going on to Boston to finally win a title. So this is probably the best chance the T-Wolves have had at pursuing a championship window since those Wolves teams with Garnett, Wally Zerbiak, Latrell Sprewell, and Sam Cassell. So that's pretty cool for Minnesota fans. And I think that if they can continue to build and they can continue to keep Anthony Edwards there and keep him happy, I think they'll be in the mix every single year with him there. Just got to get him a little more help, potentially scoring-wise. The Thunder, I think the Thunder are going to move on against either the Clippers or the Mavs. I expect the Mavs to win that series against the Clippers. I just think the Clippers are out of gas. They're too old, and Kawhi is never healthy. So I don't think that Clippers team was meant to win, or built to win, I should say. So I think the Mavs will move on to the second round, and I think that the Thunder take care of the Mavs in probably 5 or 6 games. I just think the Thunder are really, really good, and I think they've arrived now. And I think that they'll take the Nuggets to 7 games. I think that ultimately we're going to get a Celtics versus Nuggets finals. And with Porzingis, I believe the Celtics would win that series in 7. Without Porzingis, I think the Nuggets win in 6. I think that it's too much to ask with Jokic there, and not putting Horford on him for a full series like that, I think would be a tough ask at Horford's age. But I think that those are clearly the 2 best teams, with the Thunder probably the 3rd best. But I think the Thunder are going to be the team to beat in the West for years to come, especially if they're able to keep that nucleus together. It seems to be a very cohesive unit. I love that spot the other night when they blew off the TNT interview to take the local interview first. I thought that was really cool. And you can tell that it's a really tight-knit group out in OKC. I think that group's going to be one that is going to be at the top of the West for years to come. But this year, I think, again, Denver's going to have a chance to repeat, and it's going to come down to whether or not the Celtics can take them out and finally get over the hump. In terms of teams eliminated, I wanted to hit mainly on the Lakers. I think Darvin Ham is done. I think there were reports throughout the year talking about how people weren't really buying into him, especially his players, and I think that it finally came to a head in the playoffs. You saw the instance with D'Angelo Russell when he was benched, where he was just scrolling through his phone and eating popcorn on the bench. And it just felt like, LeBron throwing his tantrum when he wasn't challenging the play. I just think that Ham might be in over his head a little bit. And I think LeBron, with him opting out, as was reported by Brian Windhurst, he's expected to opt out this summer and become a free agent for the first time since 2018. I think that LeBron's going to wait and see what happens with Bronny. I think they probably already know realistically what he's going to do, but I don't think that the future would be best with Bronny in Los Angeles. I think Los Angeles needs to go through a full rebuild. I know it's going to be tough, especially still having Anthony Davis, but I also think the Lakers, being who they are, they're able to build on the fly and they're able to add talent quick just by being out in Los Angeles. The Clippers have benefited from that recently, and especially since Donald Sterling left. And, the Lakers now, I think they can build pretty quickly. They may even, if LeBron is to stay, maybe they look to add Klay Thompson in the offseason. His dad's a former Laker, and so who knows what's going to happen with Klay Thompson and Golden State. But I think overall, I think the Lakers need to look to rebuild and get younger. You can still build around Anthony Davis. He's still pretty young, and he's signed for a few more years. So I think LeBron moving on and potentially waiting to see where Bronny ends up is probably the best play for both sides. I personally think that Bronny should stay in school for one more year. He didn't get a full camp after the cardiac arrest, and so I think him taking a full season and a full off season of college basketball would be best for him. So, but in the end, I believe he enters the draft, and I think LeBron goes wherever Bronny ends up, and he's able to fulfill that dream he's had. But like I said, I think that it would be a bad move for the Lakers to do that. Business-wise, it wouldn't be, but I think as far as building their team and their roster-wise, I don't think it's a fit. And I don't think it's best for the team moving forward as far as the future. Unless they believe Bronny is going to turn into an elite player, which I don't think he is. I think he can be a solid 3-and-D player, but I don't think he's going to be much more than that. But we'll see what happens with that. I do think that people are judging him unfairly based on how the season went. He came off cardiac arrest. That's a tough ask. Didn't have a full off season to train because of it. So I just think that going back to school and having a full season of college basketball would be best for him. So we'll see how that turns out. And I think, like I said, Darvin Ham is gone from LA. I would have selected Doc Rivers to be the potential successor, but I don't think that's happening considering he's with Milwaukee now. So I'm not sure who would be a potential fit there for the Lakers. Let me know in the comments what you think about that, who could potentially be their new head coach. And what do you think they should do with LeBron, and what should LeBron do as he gets towards probably the last year or two of his career, probably two at most. I would say maybe one more year. But yeah, I just wanted to go over where we stand in the playoffs right now and let you know what I thought it was going to shake out like with the East and the West. We'll continue to update on that and see how things go. You can follow me on Twitter at JohnWalsh38. We have a Facebook group at Walsh Boys Show. I'm going to be doing more print on my Substack, covering a variety of topics. And we have our Spotify podcast on Saturdays, the Walsh Boys Show, that you can subscribe to as well. Leave us a 5-star rating, covering a lot of Boston College stuff as well as college football and college sports as a whole. And thanks for watching on here. We've done okay in our first week. It's been a lot of fun doing this with my son. So hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the bell notification so you know when we post. And thanks for watching, guys, and talk soon.